All right, so here we're actually going to not do examples. We're going back to using some of our things we've learned with multiplication, and we're going to apply that. In this case, we're going to apply it to counting rectangular arrays. So we can do this by brute force, basically, like if we have all these stars, we can just count each one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. We can do that, or we can use multiplication. And to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to take the number of columns. So here we have 5 columns times the number of rows, 4 rows. 5 times 4 is 20. And we didn't have to do anything but count number of columns and a number of rows. And so let's see here. Well, we counted them and we found there was 20. That was easy, just brute force. But what happens if you have, 20 rows and 20 columns or something like that? Then you're going to start being there all day. There's 400 of them there, and you're just going to count and count and count and count, and that's going to take you forever. Or we can find the number of rows and the number of columns and then multiply. So the number of rows, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 rows, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. And then we just take 4 times 5, and we get 20. So we get 20 both ways. One was just quicker. We only had to count 5 numbers and 4 numbers and then multiply them together, and we got our value. And sometimes when you're going across and going down, you might lose track, and especially when you get into the larger numbers. And so doing the multiplication way is much easier. Also leads us to the next thing, which is called areas. It's similar to arrays. We have square units, and in this case, a square unit is basically we're just going to have some 1 unit by 1 unit item. Okay, so in this case, 1 meter by 1 meter. And if we take 1 times 1, we get 1. And meter times meter, we'll get meter squared. And so this is how we're coming across with the area of this one little thing. That's 1 square meter in here. Well, that's pretty easy. But what happens is when we get something bigger, well, what do? Well, we could say, okay, well, we know each one of these little pieces is 1 square meter. So we could say there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 square meters. So we took 12 times each one of those and got 12 square meters. Or what we could do is we can say, okay, well, the number of columns, there's 4, which is 4 meters. So each one of those is a meter, so there's going to be 4. And each one of these is a meter, so there's going to be 3. So we'll take 3 meters times 4 meters. Well, 3 times 4 is 12. Meter times meter is meter squared. And we get 12 meters squared no matter which way we do it. If we add all the numbers together like the stars, or we take and multiply this length by this width and get the 12 square meters that way. And this second one is going to be kind of more along the lines of what we're going to do when we start working with rectangles, because an area of a rectangle is just really the length times the width. Okay. Now we don't have all the little boxes labeled here, because it could be any number of boxes on the length and number of boxes on the width. But we know if we just take length times width, we're going to get area. And remember, whatever the units are, when we get done for area, it's going to be squared units. So whether it's meters squared, inches squared, or whatever it is, you have to have a square unit. So that's another key thing when we have area, you're going to have square units. So let's say we want to find the area of the given rectangle. Okay, well, we have a length of 24 meters. We have a width of 12 meters. So if we remember over here, I said it was just going to take length times width. Well, if we take length times width, we're going to take 24 meters times 12 meters, and we're going to get something meters squared, because we have meters times meters is meters squared. Now we just have to take 24 times 12. Okay, so back to multiplication again. So 2 times 4, we get 8. 2 times 2, we get 4. 1 times 4, we get 4. 1 times 2, we get 2. Now notice this time I didn't put the dash, but we could do that because I know I'm on the second line, so the first column is not going to be anything there. I had to move over, and so again, you can put the dash there if you want to or not. I went ahead and put it in afterwards to kind of show you how it would look. And now we're going to add. So 8 and nothing is 8. 4 plus 4 is 8. 2 is 2. And so we get 288 meters squared for the area of this rectangle. Now think about that. If there were 24 columns and 12 rows and counting 288 of those little boxes, that would take forever and also lead to possible errors. But when we just took 24 times 12, that was pretty simple. Okay, and so that's how we're going to come up with getting areas. All right, so now I will come back and work some problems here out of the book.